Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Mercedes. In today's video, I have the breast cancer awareness box to share with you all. These are polishes that have been created from over 20 different makers. So Chrissy from Hearts and Promises for I believe the past 7 years, right? Because this is the 7th annual breast cancer awareness box. So Chrissy from Hearts and Promises gets all of these makers together to create these beautiful polishes for breast cancer awareness. Now they are all pink, so if you love pink, you are in big trouble because there are some gorgeous pink polishes. Even if pink isn't your favorite color, there are some beauties in here that you will enjoy. And all these polishes are for a good cause. They were all created for an amazing cause. $15 from each box, so all of the polishes, all of the items will be donated to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, or $1 from every polish will be donated. Now, some of these polishes are capped, meaning that there's only a certain amount that are made. I'll make sure that I list that down below. I also say it throughout the video, but if I did forget to say anything or the cap, it will be listed down below, as well as like pricing and details and all of that. Now, these polishes will be available September 1st through the 8th. Depending on when I get this out, on August 31st, there's a preview for you all to check out so you can see all the offerings. Now we have a lot of polishes. I have a lot to share with you all, so let's get into it. First up, we have Alchemy Lacquers, and this is Perky in Pink. There's a cap of 200, and this one is described as a neon bubblegum pink jelly with blue to purple shifting shimmer. This one was the very first polish that I swatched, and I was blown away. It is so vibrant, so bright, and so glowy. There's a heaping amount of that blue to purple shifting shimmer. It is stunning. I have not used an Alchemy Lacquer's polish in quite some time, so I was very impressed with the formula. You guys saw I built it up in 2 coats. I'm going to say long or short nails, 2 coats should be fine for you. Look at that glow. How glorious is this? This is just one of those types of polishes that even though it's super bright, I would wear all year round just because of the intense shifty shimmer in here. I really enjoyed this one on my nails. I feel like this would look fantastic as a pedicure as well. Funny enough, it is described as a jelly polish. I can see it just because of the consistency in the formula, but honestly, the formulation, how it quickly built up to opacity on my shorter nails anyways in 2 coats, but honestly I think 2 coats will be fine for everybody. I was really impressed. So you still get that squishiness with, you know, what you usually would see in a jelly polish, but you get that nice opacity when you are polishing. Pictured are 2 coats of Alchemy Lacquers, Perky in Pink with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have all Mixed Up Lacquers. This is your Stronger Than This, and there is no cap. This one is described as a pink berry base with intense blue-purple shimmer. So again, we're seeing some blue-purple shimmer. This one is obviously in a much darker base and a more berry sort of color. The formula was fantastic. You can see here on the first coat, I pretty much reach opacity, but not enough for me to feel happy with just 1 coat. On that second coat, I really reached like 100% opacity. I think long or short nails, 2 coats will be fine for you. I'm loving the blue purple shimmer here. It looks way different than the Alchemy Lacquers that we saw. Obviously, it's in a darker, more deeper base, but in the first polish we saw, that blue purple shimmer was more soft looking, right? At least in my opinion, it looked more soft and more glowy. And not that this one isn't glowy, it's just more intense, which the description does say it's an intense blue purple shimmer, so that makes sense. But I really enjoyed this one. I was very impressed with the formula. I don't think I've tried an all Mixed Up Lacquers, and if I have, it must have been a really long time ago. So very impressed with the formula. Beautiful polish, very bright in person, very bright as you can see on the camera as well. Pictured are 2 coats of all Mixed Up Lacquers with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Anchor and Heart Lacquer, and this is No Booby Left Behind, and there is no cap. This one is described as a clear base glitter bomb with a fun mix of glitter in various finishes and different sizes, so medium to extra small sizes, and it's mostly shades of pink and black. Now, this is a very versatile polish. You can wear it on its own, or you can wear it as a topper. I didn't show it paired over anything. I just showed it built up on its own. but I ended up doing 3 coats. Honestly, I probably could have been fine in 2 coats, right? It is a glitter bomb. You don't have to cover every inch of your nail, but I decided, why not? Let me throw another coat on there to see how much of an opaque look that I can get. And I was really happy with the 3 coats. Now, if you do decide to wear this on its own, you're definitely going to want to use a glitter smoother and then a glossy top coat, because it is glitter and the glitter is going to soak up that top coat like no other. But how fun is this polish? I feel like it's definitely a polish that I would wear all year round. I'm not sure if I would personally use it as a topper. I really enjoyed it built up in 3 coats. I think the addition of those black glitters, I'm a big fan of black flakies, so if you put black glitters in there, I think I just love it just as much. But I love the contrasting effects that this has. A beautiful polish. I definitely want to keep it aside so that I can wear it at a different time. Pictured are 3 coats of Anchor and Heart Lacquer, no booby left behind, with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Beaux Reves Lacquer, and this is Resilience. This one is described as a raspberry pink with golden green shimmer and green reflective glitter. Beaux Reves is not a brand that I have used a lot of. They're sort of a newer brand to me. I don't own a lot of Beaux Reves, but I really enjoyed working with this polish. On that first coat, I got a good amount of opacity and a heaping amount of that beautiful green gold shimmer. I see a lot of that gold peeking through from this sort of like raspberry corally sort of base. I can see the green shift, but the gold shimmer is definitely the star of the show. And the full hand swatch is my absolute favorite. This looks like a magnificent like sunset or sunrise. No, I'm gonna say sunset. How gorgeous is this? Now we can see all the wonderful shifts. We can see obviously that golden shimmer. We can see that it has like a hint of green, and then that raspberry pink base is just peeking through from all of that golden shimmer. It is a very, very beautiful polish. And the green reflective glitter, honestly, I feel like it adds that sparkle to the polish, but it's not overbearing. So if you're not a big fan of reflective glitter, but you like a little twinkle and sparkle, you're going to really enjoy this one. Pictured are 2 coats of Beaux Reves Resilience with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Colores de Caro, and this is Vida en Rosa. This translates to Life in Pink. This is described as an ultra hollow purplish pink with shifting micro flakes. Love this one too. I feel like I have not seen a hollow polish like this in a really long time. So I was definitely enjoying this polish as I was painting my nails, and I'm still loving it right now. I ended up going in for 3 coats, and honestly that 3rd coat was just sort of like a hover through, just because I wanted to deepen up the base a little bit more, make it a little more purple, have that base just really pop. So you can see here it's just like a quick little paint over the nail, but as I did that, you can see that the base definitely deepened up. Now, there's no description of this having any sort of a glitter or anything like that, but it is so glittery. I think it's so sparkly, and so this is just like pure hollow, and those shifty micro flakes have to be the culprit of this glittering sparkliness that we see here. If you love pink or if you love purple, you're really going to enjoy this one. I feel like it gives you this nice squishy juicy effect, but still giving you that full coverage that I like. So I love my jelly sorts of polishes, but I love when they build up to opacity. I just love that squishy look, and I think that's why I really enjoy reflective glitter a lot, just because it gives you that nice plump juiciness when you use, all your top coats and glitter smoother and all of that. So I really enjoy that sort of finish. But anyways, trailing off, beautiful polish, love the hollow. Unfortunately, I couldn't show this off in the sun, but just trust me, just know that it is super hollow and it is going to give you all of the rainbows under the sun. Pictured are 3 coats of Colores de Caro, Vida en Rosa with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Cuticula. This is Fight Song, and there is no cap. I'm going to make sure to leave the caps down below in case I forget to mention them on here. But this one is described as a peach base with large particle pink gold shifting shimmer. So in true classic Cuticula formula, This one goes on sheer on the first coat, but trust the process because it is going to build up beautifully. Here we have 2 coats, and you can already see that peachy sort of base building up. We get a lot of coral, at least I see coral. I see a little bit of purple, honestly, and maybe that might just be like a hotter pink, right? Because we have that larger particle pink gold shifting shimmer, so maybe it's a hot pink and not a coral. But anyways, I did 3 coats. I think long or short nails, 3 coats are going to look beautiful on you. Look at the glow that we're getting here. Look at this glow. Look at those beautiful, subtle yet gorgeous shifts. So we are getting like sunset vibes here. A nice bright peach orangey sort of base, and then we get that beautiful shifty shimmer. We see some gold, we see some purpley, some pink as well. It is beautiful. Pictured are 3 coats of Cuticula Fight Song with a glossy top coat. Here we have Cupcake Polish, and this is Fighter Fuchsia. There is no cap. This one is described as a neon pink packed with blue shimmer and green blue flakies. So on the first coat, we can see the beautiful bright pink base, and we can automatically see those flakies. So we see a lot of the green flakies peeking through. On the second coat, we're gonna get, oh my God, what are my kids doing? Can you guys hear all of that? On the second coat, we're definitely seeing more of that blue shimmer. So it's definitely building up, which I personally love. I love when like your base doesn't take away from the components of the polish. So I'm okay if something is a little bit more sheer on that first, maybe even second coat, but giving me that beautiful full coverage on the third coat while still being able to see all of the components that are in the polish. So 3 coats for this one. I think 3 coats will be fine for everybody. We get a beautiful array of those green blue flakies. That blue shimmer that's running through gives it this nice glow. It's not super intense, but it's just enough to give it this like icy sort of look, right? A more like cooler sort of look, which this is a hot bright pink, but that blue shimmer just I don't know, to me, like, it doesn't turn the polish into like a cool toned pink, but it definitely gives it this icier sort of cooler vibe, like you're just taking water and pouring it over something hot and it just sizzles. Like, I don't know, that's how I'm picturing things. I know I describe things a little bit differently, but beautiful polish nonetheless. Pictured are 3 coats of Cupcake Polish Fighter Fuchsia with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Crystal Knockout, and this is Let the Sun In, and there is no cap. This one is described as a neon pink crelly base with matte orange and peach glitters. Now on that first coat, we can see that it gives you this nice squishy jelly sort of look. It's coming off a little more orange on camera than what it really looks like in person. It's definitely more pink toned. Definitely a little bit more pink, so it's definitely coming off a little bit more orange. But a lot of these polishes are so bright that it's just so hard to capture bright polishes on camera. So just keep that in mind. But this one was gorgeous. I built it up in 3 coats. I think long or short nails, 3 coats is going to work beautifully for you. You're definitely going to want to use your glitter smoother and then your glossy top coat with this one, just because of all of the glitters. I love how we didn't lose the glitters or the colors of the glitters in this base, because they're all sort of, no, they're not similar in color, but they're all very warm and hot, right? So you have your orange and your peach glitters, and then you have this neon pink crelly that leans more on the like hot coral salmony pink side. So all of those shades have this like warm toned effect, right? But we can still see the differences. We can still see the base, and we can still see the 2 different glitters, the 2 different colors, and I really like that. Pictured are 3 coats of Crystal Knockout Let the Sun In with a glossy top coat. Here we have Hearts and Promises, and this is Stronger Than the Storm, and there's no cap. This one's described as a pale neon pink base with orange, gold, red aurora shimmer sprinkled throughout. You can see the shimmer just sparkling on that fan brush. You see it right there too. On that first coat, it goes on a little sheer, but not so bad, right? On the second coat, we build up to that beautiful pale neon pink base. Now, this almost looks like a cream base. or not a cream base, like a cream polish, but there is definitely shimmer sprinkled throughout in there. That Aurora shimmer is so pretty. It just disperses so evenly all across the nail and all across the polish, all in the polish. It is so finely milled, and you get this beautiful like cream polish sort of look, but with that nice little twinkle, that little sparkle at like certain angles that just catches the light. I really enjoyed this polish for just the simplicity. It was just enough. Pictured are 2 coats of Hearts and Promises, Stronger Than the Storm, with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Hula Moon, and this one is The Promise of a New Day, and there's a cap of 200. This one is a very delicate pink shade that shifts to a ballet nude to peach. There's some gold and green shifts that are within there as well. Just depends on where the light is going to catch it. Now, I didn't wait for that second coat to dry, so you're going to see it sort of get clumpy at the corner there. So that is just user error. That is not the polish itself. I ended up doing 2 coats. I felt like that was enough. I felt like it gave me enough opacity. I think because there's so much beautiful shifty shimmer in here. Like, you can definitely see some yellow, you can see a little bit of green, right, at very extreme angles. It's more of like this olivey sort of green, but we see lots of different lighter pink shades that are all within the mix too. And I love how it has that little twinkle, that little sparkle as well. Pictured are 2 coats of Hula Moon Beauty, The Promise of a New Day, with a glossy top coat. Next up is Jen&Berries, and this is Chickadee Check Yourself. There's a cap of 250. This one's described as a flamingo pink velvet linear holographic base with pink gold shifty shimmer. Another gorgeous hollow polish. I love seeing these classic formulations for polishes. I feel like we don't get that as often anymore. Not that these other polishes aren't beautiful, because they are, but I love myself a traditional indie polish. I built it up in 2 coats. I think long or short nails, honestly, I'm just going to say 2 to 3 because everybody's nail line is a little bit different. But I'm loving the shiftiness of this polish. I'm loving that gold to a pale sort of yellow shade. The pink base, it does look like velvet. It really does look like velvet. That shimmer, that pink gold shifty shimmer, just gives it that beautiful like blankety effect, or that beautiful blanket effect, to make it look velvet or just like plush. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it makes sense in my head. And this is a beautiful polish. Pictured are 2 coats of Jen&Berries, Chickadee Check Yourself, with a glossy top coat. Here we have Leeha's Lacquer, and this is an El Momento. This one is described as a clear to pink thermal with large hollow flakies, and there's no cap. This one is a classic like jellier sort of shade. I didn't realize that this was thermal when I first swatched. I am going to show you it in the transition phase. I did go back and swatch it again, but originally I did not. And I was like, wow, this is a beautiful, bright, pinky, purpley sort of polish, and I'm here for it. Now, it is described as pink, but I feel like on me, in its colder state, that it definitely pulls a little more purple or a more deeper sort of pink. The hollow flakies, loving it. You know I love hollow flakies, and these are just large and in charge. I did do 3 coats. I think long or short nails, if you want a more opaque look like this, you're going to want to do 3 coats, but 2 coats if you wanted that nice squishy jelly sort of look. I kind of like the clear transition. I do. I've been really into thermals lately, which is not like me because I have short nails, and sometimes the transitions can look a little wonky, or it doesn't give you that gradient effect on shorter nails. But I don't know, I've been really, really liking them. So here we have 3 coats of Leeha's Lacquer and El Momento with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Luna Lacquer, and this is Pink Power. This one's capped at 250, and it's described as a fuchsia pink with gold to orange to green, blue and purple shifting shimmer. So the blue to purple is at extreme angles. So we're automatically seeing that beautiful orange shifty shimmer We see a lot of the gold, the green, not quite yet. I built it up in 3 coats. I think long or short nails, 3 coats will work best for you. So here on the solo finger swatch, we're getting shades of orange and gold, just as we did on the swatch. And then at more extreme angles is when we're seeing some of that green peeking through. Blue to purple, I can sort of see blue at very extreme angles, but it mostly looks like an icier sort of effect along the perimeters of my nail. But lots and lots of gold and lots of orange. Such a pretty polish. If you love a gold shimmer in your polish, you're going to really enjoy this one. It is super glowy. Pictured are 3 coats of Hula Lacquer with a glossy top coat. Next up is LynBDesigns, and this is Nice Melons, capped at 250, and it's described as a bright raspberry pink with green to purple shifting shimmer. So this is a crackle polish, okay? And I didn't know. So I swatched it as a regular polish. And I have the footage, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to show it because why not? It didn't crackle on my bare nails. Now, I didn't use a base coat when I was swatching this. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it didn't crackle on a bare nail. It does crackle later. I'll show you. But I wanted to show it off. If you really wanted to just build it up on its own and wear it like this, you definitely could. Now, I can't speak to whether it's going to crackle over a sticky base coat or a regular base coat, but without a base coat, this is the look that you get. And then over black, I'm going to show you it, and look how intense. Look how intense that shimmer is. So much green, so much gold. This is it sped up so you can see the crackle effect. I always like to do this with my crackle polishes. I think it always looks so cool. But we get a lot more green on that finished look. I also wanted to show it off over white, which looks okay, but I prefer it over black or over a more darker base. So I'll show you the white in a little bit. But this is the full hand swatch. I think it looks really cool. Oh my gosh, I remember when crackle polish came out way back when. I literally bought every single color that the crackle polish came out in because I was so obsessed. And here it is over the white. So it looks more like whimsical, more like unicorn vibes. I prefer it over a darker base. I think it looks more vampy. It definitely stands out a little bit more. Pictured is 1 coat of LynBDesigns Nice Melons over a black cream polish. Next up, we have Monarch Lacquer, and this is From Darkness Comes Light, capped at 300. This is a thermal polish, and it's described as a chocolate mauve in the cold state, and it transitions to a medium pink in the warm state. And we have beautiful blue-green Aurora shimmer in here as well. So you can see as I polish, it definitely goes on more chocolatey, definitely gets darker, so I'll show you that in a little bit. But immediately, because I was running warm, it transitions to that medium pink warm state immediately. I ended up doing 3 coats, and I think long or short nails, honestly, like 2 to 3 coats. I always say 2 to 3 coats unless you really, really, really need a 3rd coat. But look at this. This is sort of that in-between stage. It gets much darker, and you're going to see that. So here it is in its medium pink warm state. So we get that beautiful green Aurora shimmer peeking through, but we see a lot of that pink base as well. And then here it is in its cold state. I love it in its cold state. I mean, I like it in its warm state, but I love my darker polishes, and I really enjoyed it in the darker state. That blue-green Aurora shimmer just pops. This would look beautiful in the winter time. I live in an area where it does get super cold, so I can imagine my hands being this beautiful chocolatey mauve, and then going inside, getting to that medium pinkish sort of stage. And then maybe staying in between. But I really enjoyed this one. The glow is beautiful, and that blue-green Aurora shimmer is stunning. Pictured are 3 coats of Monarch Lacquer, From Darkness Comes Light, with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Nailed It, and this is Be the Hope, and there's a cap of 200. It's described as a very light pink tinted base, packed with gold, copper, crystal flakies, and hollow flakies. Nailed It does flaky polishes amazingly, and they do these sort of like fairy-like flaky polishes extremely well. I ended up going in for 3 coats, and I'm going to suggest 3 coats for everybody. Now, the star of the show is definitely those beautiful flakies. The crystal flakies, the hollow flakies, but most definitely the crystal flakies. The gold and the copper is just stunning. But we don't lose sight of that pink base. That light pink base still glows from within. I love how we get this beautiful like starlight sort of look, but still hold on to that lighter base, right? Because we have very strong components and that can just absorb your base completely, but this polish doesn't do that. I enjoyed this one. I think if you really want a nice plump juicy effect, because this is so flaky dense, you should use a glitter smoother and then your glossy top coat over it. Pictured are 3 coats of Nailed It Be the Hope with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Owl Lacquer, and this is unbreakable and there is no cap. This one's described as a deep mauve holographic with copper shimmer and glass flecks. So I feel like this is your classic linear hollow polish, and I'm loving it. The formula was fantastic. You can already see his great coverage on that first coat. I ended up doing 2 coats. I think long or short nails, 2 coats will be fine. Actually, I don't think. I know. I mean, come on. 2 coats is going to be fine for everybody. Unfortunately, I didn't have the sun to show off the wonderful rainbows that you are going to see. It's going to be super hollow in the sun. I know that it is. I feel like this is going to be a beautiful shade for the winter time. It's this gorgeous mauvey berry sort of shade. To me, when I see this, I think of berry. I don't think of mauve. I definitely think of like a deep berry base. I guess not too deep, but berry enough, right? A winter berry. Not a winter berry, no. How can I say this? Like a berry base for the winter that's still bright, but not super deep. I'm ridiculous sometimes. But this was gorgeous. I loved the linear hollow in this. I think it's going to be very winter appropriate if you are a seasonal polish wearer. Pictured are 2 coats of Owl Lacquer, unbreakable with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Paradox Polish, and unfortunately, I don't have a description for this one, but this one's called Still Kicking Ass, so I'm going to do my best with the description, and if I get a description after this, then I'll make sure to leave it below. But I'm going to describe this one as a brownish to charcoalish brown to charcoal sort of base with a super light pink magnetic pull, and then we have those beautiful shifting flakies in here. Now, I put this one up in 2 coats. I think I was fine with the 2 coats. If I would have went in for a 3rd coat, I would have got a more deeper base, but I sort of was feeling this sort of look where it was a more not pure brown or pure black. It had this sort of like jellyish, bouncy sort of look. But I'm going to recommend 2 to 3 for everybody. If you want more of a deeper base, then I'd recommend 3 coats. But if you're fine with this sort of airier, lighter sort of base and that beautiful silvery effect, then I think you're going to be fine with 2 coats. I love how the flakies shift to different colors. It sort of like offsets this more like grungier sort of look. It makes it more daintier, makes it more feminine. I'm really loving it. I actually really love the Paradox Polish bottles. I think those little skeletons are so cute. Pictured are 2 coats of Paradox Polish, Still Kicking Ass with a glossy top coat. Next up, we have Eyed Lacquer, and this is Sweater Puppies, capped at 200, and is described as a pink to red thermal with a pink red gold shifting shimmer and hollow flakies. So again, we're seeing another thermal that I am living for because I've been just craving thermals nonstop. But you can see again, I was running a little bit warm, so it keeps shifting back to its more lighter pink base. And then when it's super, super cold, I don't think it gets very red. It gets to like this nice deep coral / red shade. Maybe more like a deep coral orange red. You'll see. But here it is in its lighter pink stage. I think it's a very pretty and it's a very flattering pink against my skin tone. And then here it is in its colder state. So you see what I mean, where it has red undertones, but I feel like it's more like orangey, corally, salmony sort of a color. But I really enjoyed this one. I love the simplicity of it just having the thermal colors. So it's pink or it's corally, orangey, red. The shifting shimmer, I feel like it just adds to the base and just makes it a little more dimensional so it's not super flat. And then the hollow flakies just running all throughout the nail is just so pretty. Pictured are 2 coats of red-eyed lacquer sweater puppies with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Rogue Lacquer, and this is Warrior, and there is no cap. This one's described as a soft pink crelly with copper pink glass flakes and red copper green UCC flakies. Such a soft, pretty shade for Rogue Lacquer. I'm always used to those very flaky bomb, very intense bright colors, but I really enjoyed this change or this theme for Rogue Lacquer. I ended up going in with 3 coats just so I can really build up that pink crelly base. I wanted a more fuller look for the base, and it didn't take away from the flakies that are in here. It didn't bury the flakies in. It's still a very soft color, and it still gives you that beautiful pond effect, but still adding a beautiful top layer so that you're able to see all of the glorious color shifting flakies that we see here. We see the red, we see yellow, we see green, we see all of the colors. Very pretty. This would make a beautiful pedicure as well. I'm going to recommend using a glitter smoother and then a glossy top coat. It's not going to dry down textured or anything like that, but it's just going to give you a nice plump juicy look. Pictured are 3 coats of Rogue Lacquer Warrior with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Sassy Sauce Polish, and this is I Can Survive. Just peep the spelling though. This is kept at 300. It's described as a bubblegum pink with a golden red shimmer and hollow micro flakies. This was the perfect shade of pink on me. I love these sort of bubblegum pinks where it's not that like in between mid-tone pink. I don't know, I feel like mid-tone pinks don't look the greatest on me. I feel like they do look good. I just don't like, they're just not my preference. That's what it is. They look good on my skin tone, but they're not my preference. But I do enjoy this sort of bubblegum, brighter, sort of like Barbie pink. We can definitely see the hollow micro flakies in here. As for the golden and red shimmer, I don't see too much of it. I do see a nice gold shimmer running delicately throughout the nail. But this is such a pretty polish. I feel like, again, an all year round polish when you just want a nice pop of pink on your nails with a little extra sparkle. Pictured are 2 coats of Sassy Sauce Polish I Can Survive with a glossy top coat. This is Sassy Pants Polish, and this is Pink Hope. There is no cap, and it's described as a light pink silver ultra holographic glitter bomb with an assortment of fuchsia and pink glitters and pink holographic micro sheds. So we have a lot going on, but everything goes on smoothly. There is no texture. Everything was just like wonderful to work with. I don't think I've tried a Sassy Pants polish before, but I was very impressed with the formula. I'm going to recommend 2 to 3 coats for everybody. I was really loving this silver holographic base. I love all the holographics that have been featured so far. I just feel like I was craving something different, something that I haven't tried in a really long time, and these brands were bringing it. I love the glitters that are sprinkled throughout this polish. They're very contrasting, right? And not in the sense that they are obviously, a brighter color than our silver base, but because we have this like ultra holographic glitter bomb, right? And then we have these glitters that are just a little bit larger, but it's not too much, right? They're scattered nicely across the nail bed, but it gives you that nice contrast where it just gives off these funky, fun vibes. I really enjoyed this one. Pictured are 3 coats of Sassy Pants Polish Pink Hope with a glossy top coat. Next up we have Sweet and Sour Lacquer, and this is Unstoppable. There is no cap. This one's described as a hot pink jelly base with pink orange gold shimmer. So definitely a hot pink and very bright. And just take a moment of appreciation for that dancing shimmer on the nail right now. Look at that. It is just dancing. It's going to dry down just a tad bit flat, so you're going to want to use a nice glossy top coat to bring it back to life. I did go in for a third coat. Was it necessarily needed? Not really. I just kind of wanted to see what it would do, if it would deepen up the base or anything, but it didn't do too much. So I think 2 coats will be fine for everybody. I'm loving the shifts that we see here, that orange, that pink, the gold. I love all of the warmer tones that are mixing in together, and it still looks great, right? Sometimes I get a little bit worried that it's too much warmth and it's gonna not look good on my warmer skin tone, but it looks amazing. This is a beautiful polish. This is gonna be like glorious to wear in the winter when you're just feeling down and you want something bright and beautiful. I personally love wearing bright colors in the winter when we have snowy days. I just feel like my nails are always the center of attention during not necessarily a snowstorm, but when there's snow all over the place, or you walk outside and it's just gloomy, and then you look at your nails and you're like, yes. But beautiful formula, gorgeous shifts, in love. Pictured are 3 coats of sweet and sour lacquer, unstoppable, with a glossy top coat. Next up is Victorian Varnish, and there's a cap of 200. This is called Save the Pumpkins, Check for Lumpkins. This is described as a bright pink leaning fuchsia with scattered hollow and intense pink gold peach aurora shimmer. I must say, Victorian Varnish has one of the best brushes I've ever used. I really enjoy their brushes, and I am not a brush snob I'm far away from a brush snob, but I am going to point out when a brush is really good, and it just makes polishing so much easier, but I will work with whatever you give me. So I ended up doing 3 coats. I think long or short nails, 2 to 3 coats will work best for you. Get this beautiful bright fuchsia base, and then the scattered hollow throughout there is very fine but still sparkly. Like, you can see how it catches the light and just glimmers, right? We're getting a lot of that peach, a lot of that gold aurora shimmer just peeking through the sides of my nails. It just looks very glass-like, right? This finish looks very glass-like, very pretty. Again, another beautiful bright polish that we can wear all year round. You can wear it in the winter to give you a nice pop of color as well. Victorian Varnish always has an amazing formula. I've never had any issues with the polishes from Victorian Varnish. Pictured are 3 coats of Victorian Varnish, Save the Pumpkins, Check for Lumpkins, with a glossy top coat. And the last polish that I have to share with you all is from Zombie Claw, and this is in October We Wear Pink, and it's capped at 100. This is described as a bubblegum pink loaded with electric blue shimmer and hollow flakies, and it also glows in the dark white. You'll see that in a little bit, but this bubblegum pink, perfect, right? I love my bubblegum pinks. The electric blue shimmer in here is not as intense as it usually is for Zombie Claw, but that's okay because we have hollow flakies in here. We still see that blue shimmer, but it's just scattered all throughout the nail, and it gives it this nice subtle glow, like this glow from within, which I really enjoyed. I feel like this is such a flattering shade of bubblegum pink. It leans a little bit on the cooler side, so not as warm as we have been seeing for a lot of these polishes. Very beautiful, easy to work with. I'm going to show you it glowing in the dark. Pictured are 3 coats of Zombie Claw. In October We Wear Pink, with a glossy top coat. All right, everybody, that is all that I have for you today. Let me know if you plan on picking up any of these polishes, or if you plan on picking up the entire box. I didn't mention this earlier, but there are more offerings than just polish that will be available. There'll be stamping plates and soaps and waxes and all of that as well. So yes, let me know if you plan on getting anything. Thank you again, and I'll see you in my next one.